Lovely. Thank you so much. Okay, so scrolling down, my research for lately has been with working with businesses in Newfoundland and Labrador and reaching out to try to get a statistically relevant sample of what percentage are Two-Spirit LGBTQI plus or allied, but mainly what percentage are part of our community. There are 15,000 businesses in Newfoundland, registered businesses. I really wanted to get what I call a statistically relevant sample of that. So that would be about 10% or 1,500 businesses. I do consider the work not done because I wasn't able to get positive contact with that many. So I reached out to, if you look at the bottom there, 2,896. But of those, some of them just did not get back to me, sadly, but 537 did. Of those 537, 253 said that they were, in fact, Two-Spirit LGBTQI plus owned businesses owned by entrepreneurs in Newfoundland, Labrador that are part of the community. 47.1%, which is shockingly high. Then that's nowhere near all businesses. I imagine that percentage would change once we got in touch with like a more statistically relevant percentage. But I was not cherry picking businesses. I was not going after, it was a random sample. I wasn't going after people in the community or people I knew to be a part of the community. Very high, shockingly high results. 157 like called themselves allies. 20, so it's 29.2%. 50, only 52, 9.6% identified themselves as in no way part of the community and did not want to be considered part of the community for whatever reason. And a shocking statistic we found, 75 of them had more than the amount of people that had called themselves not part of the community. 75 businesses had closed in the last fiscal year. Newfoundland is by no means immune to the tariff slash hard times that have been happening the last little while. So it's interesting that there was a higher percentage of closed businesses than there were people who considered themselves not a part of the community. Like that, it's very statistically, it's bordering on very statistically relevant, and that's very interesting to me. So of the demographic totals, if we can see this on the screen there now, I'm going to scroll down. We can, in this graph, we can see we included people who did not respond or did not want to provide their demographic data. I'm going to scroll past this to only the ones who provided it. That would be 53% of entrepreneurs in the province who are also a part of the queer community were women, 86 entrepreneurs. 34 or 21% were persons with disabilities, 6 were newcomers, 9 were youth entrepreneurs, 11 Indigenous, and 16, a total of 10% that we could find, were considered themselves visible minorities. But again, women entrepreneurs, part of the LGBTQI plus community, absolutely killing it and leading the way, and some of the largest dollar amount businesses. Not that that's the only way to judge a business, but we're also in that group when we broke it down by our projections for dollar amount. And interestingly, it's not in any of the data here, but when we went looking at the government's data for what groups statistically got grants for their business, women were among the least to get grants. It was an interesting correlation that we're finding, and we're definitely bringing that up to the data that, at least a part of the LGBTQ community, women entrepreneurs are leading the way, but they are the least likely, and they are the most likely to have a profitable business, but the least likely to get grants. It's an issue that absolutely our statistics are bearing out and needs to be addressed. It all needs to be addressed, but it's such a shocking number, like 53%, that's it's staring you in the face and it needs to be addressed. Scrolling down, very sorry. We've also broken it down by intersectionality, which we were able to do because of how I got the business. So again, of the women, 38 or 24% of the total identified as they were like the only group that they identified with were women. Let's see, you can scroll down through, we can screenshot this and look wherever we want, but also women with disabilities were 22 or 14%. Women who are also visible minorities were 3%. Indigenous women with disabilities, 2%. Again, we broke this down every way that we could in order to show as much of the intersectional data as we could and get the information out there. We also broke down by trades and services, sorry, by sector where we are. So again, of the trades and services division, about 4% of that are queer owned, which is wonderful. Technical services, we're talking about 5% queer owned, still wonderful. Retail and small business, 10% queer owned, not surprising at all, and absolutely wonderful. A lot of rural towns have your corner shop are in fact queer owned. Real estate, very low, only 1% that we could find. Nonprofit and social enterprises, 7%. Marketing and comms, 15%. Legal services, 2%. HR and recruitment, 2%. Hospitality, 9%, more closely to what one would expect. Health and wellness, 6%. Financial planning, none, which is a big gap. And please, someone listening to this, start a financial planning firm in Newfoundland if you have those skill sets and are a part of the community. There is a gap. We could not find any. Design and creative, by far the largest. So we're talking about our cover designers, our writers, people in the arts community, all of that. So we're talking 21% or 113 businesses. Big representation in the arts community. Consulting, 31%, but not a lot found, so I don't know how much we want to look at that. And again, we've broken it down a bunch of different ways. This information will be available online. I don't want to go through all of it there, but it's amazing how many of us there are. The big takeaway from this research, and in addition to Quadrangle and Rape making making me feel very welcome and included, there's also just reaching out to people and scrubbing through the data and looking and finding and going literally on Google Maps and going through like the different, sorry, Google Street View and doing virtual tours of these small communities to find a business that's not on the map and then contacting them and being like, hey, are you a part of the community? And it turning out that there are. The big takeaway from this from me has been there are more of us than we are led to believe, which to me is very uplifting and very wonderful. And I hope it is for you too. Back to the data because I'm not good at speaking. Again, so these of the women in the industry, the industries that they are leading, design and creative being a massive one, 42% of the women entrepreneurs are in design and creative, hospitality being 20%, retail and small business being 20%, the others making up varying of the 1%. Newcomers to Canada, design and creative, again, 50%, hospitality, 33%, trades and services, 17%. Persons with disability, again, you're seeing the trend, design and creative. Design and creative is just a huge part of this, of people in our community contributing. Retail and small business, though, 18%. Youth, design and creative, and hospitality. Only those two things. That was all we found with youth people who wanted to identify as being part of the community. Indigenous, retail and small business was the majority. Design and creative coming up in second at 27% with this. Visible people who identified as being visible minorities, hospitality being the main one, 33%. And that is the end of the data. We're doing more with it, and I'm very sorry that I've been told that my color blindness has meant that some of the colors are interesting for this, the color combinations. I'm very sorry for my color blindness and making that happen. It is being fixed before this goes up on the website, but hopefully it has not been too eye strainy for everyone. I don't know where time is, but I very would like to emphasize that I very much consider this work not done, and it's work that I think that we can share with the rest of the province and the rest of the provinces. The last speaker, I heard the work that they're doing. We've been building also a online resource that we're planning on launching behind a password protected wall to stop it from being used by bad actors, where people can, in fact, and we've already got it built on the back end, search for bookstores or authors or cover designers or what have you, so that when someone wants to start a business, they can get their logo designed or their distribution or what have you from within the community. Whatever they're providing, whatever product or service or what have you, whatever parts of the business are outside their control, like distribution, they can use this to create what my partners call the business in a box, so that they can keep it all within the community and use the community to build up and make it 100% queer run and queer created from the logo to the booking, which is absolutely lovely and it's wonderful to be a part of. But like I said, I very much consider the work not done, and I would love to see what that statistic looks like if we get to 10% of the community surveyed or the business community surveyed, or even beyond that. But 10% would be a lovely statistical goal to get the answers behind, because as it looks like there's quite a lot of us out there. And I'd love to find out once we've reached that 1,500 statistical goal if those percentages hold, if it's 47% of us, which would be massive and is something that we can take beyond our reach and go, if there's this much of us out there, why aren't you funding us? Or what? Thank you so much again to Glenn and Janice. To Glennis and Jin, and to Colt and my team at Quadrangle. Thank you so much to everyone in the room who I can't see and I'm not. Oh, good. I'm hearing some claps. I was talking to the blue curtain behind Glennis and I didn't know anything, but am not seeing time, but I hopefully am roundabout there. Too early?
You're good. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah. You're at time. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity again.